1, 2, 3, 4, now she's ready, now it's time. A Boston girl who knows true crime. She got cash, attitude, but her truly got blue. She knows Sunday, she knows summer, now she's ready, now it's time. A Boston girl who knows true crime. She got cash, attitude, but her truly got blue. She knows Sunday, she knows summer, Danny after dark.
Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight is finally another case review. It's been a few weeks. It's been a few weeks. So I'm really excited to do this case review. And this was actually one that was in viewer suggestion. So I'm really excited to cover it because honestly, I think I knew the bare minimum of this case. So being able to research it was pretty gory, I'm struggling with the words, but as I uncover the case with you guys, you're going to understand where that's coming from, because this was a case very, very different, like any that I've covered before. So it was very interesting doing the research. I'll put it that way. But in the meantime, welcome everybody. I hope you are doing well. If you are not in the chat, thank you for joining, and I really appreciate you watching. And I just want to give a big thank you to everybody. As of this past weekend, I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm beyond just amazed that happened. This was just a COVID project and just something to see who else wanted to talk about true crime just as much as I did, and to form this community with you guys. It just means so much to meet people that I wouldn't have had the chance otherwise to meet and just discuss true crime cases. And it's just been wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I can't say enough positive things, and I'm beyond grateful for all of your support and for those of you who have subscribed and interacted and just kind of followed me along this journey. I really appreciate it. And I guess I'll give a shout out to Paul and Beckham, my co-hosts over on Manson Saga, because I've been doing that before I decided to do Danny After Dark, and they were very instrumental and a big part behind the scenes in pushing me to do my own show. So shout out to them. Hopefully they're not in the chat right now and hear me saying positive things about them, because we don't want them to know that. I have to keep up appearances here and be mean to them because that's what co-hosts are for, right? Anyway, hello everybody. Let's see. Oh, damn it, Paul's here. Oh God, he heard me probably compliment him. Oh man. Let's see. Hi Camilla, welcome. Good to see you. Kane, of course. The Better Paul. Thank you to the Better Paul for being here. Capone, welcome. Hey, Fiddle. Thank you. Thank you. Tony, good morning. I do have the door open, so you may see some cats in here tonight. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Typically, when it's like a show with like, a case review and intense purpose, they tend to like run amok and mess things up, but let's see if they can redeem themselves. But they just ate, so they might not be up here running around and playing, but we'll see. There's a chance you might see some. Let's see who else is here. Yeah. Besides Paulcast. Barb, hello. Richard, you are nothing if not a man of specific and intentional wording. Nothing if not that. Little Milky, hi, thank you. Oh, for Christ's sakes, Paul, I'll time you out for that type of bullshit. Anyway, thank you, everybody. And okay, where the heck is James Watson? And I can say that because this case tonight was his suggestion. Yes, this was James Watson's suggestion. He is here every show. Where the heck is he? And he knew I was covering this. I had messaged him and I said, look what I'm researching. So he knew I was covering it, but that's okay. That's okay, James. I'm just kidding. If you're busy, I hope you watch it on the rerun and let me know what you think, because yeah, I did not know much about this case until you suggested it. So of course, shout out to James Watson again for this case suggestion. And for those of you who saw the title of the show, then you know what case I'm suggesting. And I'm very curious on this case, if this was one that you guys knew about, or this was new to you, or, I knew the name. I think probably 2 sentences about this case, like the bare minimum. I didn't know the details. I did not know the details until I was researching it. So I'm very curious if this is one where you guys are like, oh yeah, we know this, or yeah, I knew what happened. I knew what he did, and so on and so forth. Oh man. Yeah, this is definitely a new kind of path for Danny After Dark in covering a case, I do have to say. So yeah, I'm actually really excited to dive into it with you guys, but let's see. What is Fiddle saying? I haven't seen James online in a while. Someone should do a wellness check. Fiddle, he was at our last show over on the Paulcast, and he, if you missed our post, at the beginning of our intro music, he made a comment like waiting for shitty intro music to start, which if you guys follow me on Danny After Dark on Instagram, I actually have a picture of that somebody had taken for us and sent to us. So funny. I had to share it. It was so funny. That picture just made my day. And I know Paul was just like loving that too. So James is around. He's around, but where he is today is to be determined. I don't know. I want to say that I haven't seen him in like a week. Well, when did we do our Manson Saga show? On Thursday. So he was around on Thursday. So today is what, Tuesday? So it's been 5 days. If Thursday comes and he's not at Paulcast, yeah, we'll issue a wellness check on James Watson for sure. Because yeah, he's always in the chats, just like bugging everybody. I don't know. New to me. Okay. Thank you for that. I'm excited. To talk about this then and hear I'm really excited to hear what you think after I cover it. Sounds familiar to me, says the better Paul, but not certain. Okay, fair. Hey, Troy, good to see you. As long as he's alive, sarcastic, and well-ish. Yes, that's all we want for James Watson, is hoping he's well-ish. Hey, Wolf, thank you. Thank you so much. Wolf, I have known you since before there was Danny After Dark. We go way back, so thank you. I really appreciate that. All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and get started in this case. I'm going to break it up. It's not a terribly long episode, so I'm going to break it up into 3 sections. And then in between, I'll kind of pause and kind of check in with you guys and see what you're thinking, what you're saying, if you know this, or if you're just mouth drop appalled with this case. I don't know. So yes, I knew you would go big on here. Thank you. It really means a lot. All right, you guys. So let's dive in to Austin Harrouff. So in August 2016, Florida State University student Austin Harrouff allegedly attacked strangers John Stevens and Michelle Mishcon outside of their home, killing them in a way that made headlines around the world. But what exactly happened to make those headlines? What made his crime that he committed stand out unlike any other? Especially to grab worldwide headlines, it takes a lot for that to happen nowadays. So let's see what happened from the beginning. Austin Harrouff was born on December 21st, 1996 in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, and grew up in northern Palm Beach County. In high school, Austin was a football player and on the wrestling team. Upon graduating, he went on to attend Florida State University, FSU, and became a member of the Alpha Delta Phi fraternity. And I probably butchered that. I think it's Alpha Delta Pi. I'm not sure. Greek life it's not my expertise. So by all means, somebody correct me if I got that one wrong. So Austin even had his own YouTube channel. Go figure. He was a YouTuber. And his username was A Frost. His content had a wide range collection of his videos. Some included clips of him singing Elvis Presley's Hound Dog, or, for example, a video of him discussing personal training and why he decided not to take steroids. Well, so far, Austin appeared to be living just the typical college student life. He grew up involved in several team sports, continued being involved in college campus life, even joining a fraternity. So what exactly happened that would go on and change everything? Well, on August 15th, 2016, Austin, he was 19 years old at this point and a sophomore at FSU. He was out to dinner with his family at Duffy's Bar and Grill in Jupiter. He stormed out in the middle of dinner and went back to his mother's home. While reportedly there, he drank cooking oil and was acting strange. Well, his mother left the restaurant to go to find him, and she did in fact find him at her home, and she drove him back to the restaurant. But once he got back to the restaurant, things didn't calm down. He was still acting abnormal. He even got into an argument with his father and then stormed out of the restaurant again. Austin's mother called the police and told them that her son had been acting strangely. She said he was claiming he had, quote, superpowers, end quote, and, quote, was here to protect people, end quote. Well, meanwhile, after Austin stormed out of the restaurant for the second time, he was walking across town and came across a home just north of Palm Beach County line. This home belonged to 59-year-old John Stevens and 53-year-old Michelle Michonne. They had recently celebrated their 19th wedding anniversary. Now, before I jump into what happens next, let's see where you guys are in the chat. I know I'm leaving you hanging. I am leaving you guys hanging. Sam Smith. Hello, Sam Smith. Welcome. You know, you are the only person I think I've ever met on YouTube that just jumps into chats with just comments galore. A simple, hey, hi, how you doing? Everybody would work too. But you know what, Sam, this is your style and we got to appreciate it. Sam is already jumping into it. What's going on? Bath salts, meth. We'll see. We'll see. Capone. I don't even know what that is referencing, but you know what? You're in Vegas, so you do you, boo. You do you. All right. All right. I will proceed and not leave y'all hanging because, yeah, Sam Smith is already jumping in there with what he thinks is going on. So let's see quickly. What is this? FSU at Danny After Dark. Not sure what. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Got it. At first I'm thinking like, wait a minute, there's no way I mispronounced Florida State University. I mean, let's be honest, I butcher every word, so that would obviously be a possibility, but I'm like, I know I didn't butcher that one. Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying. All right. I read Magic Mushrooms. I don't buy it one bit. Was this a face eater? The better Paul. All right, let's get into it, folks. Let's get into it. You guys are jumping ahead here with hypotheses on what happened. So what happened next is Austin entered the home and then knifed and bludgeoned the couple to death in their garage. A neighbor, Jeff Fisher, he heard the noise outside and he tried to intervene. However, Austin stabbed him too. Thankfully, Jeff would go on to survive the attack. Well, police soon arrived, and what they came across was something only in nightmares, something that's typically not common in these types of cases. So Austin, he was down to his underwear and he was gnawing on Stephen's face and he was grunting like an animal. It took a taser, 3 police officers, and a canine to pull Austin away from Stephen's body. Police initially attributed Austin's actions to him possibly taking bath salts or flakka. However, toxicology reports, they found none in Austin's system. What they only found was alcohol in a very small amount of marijuana. So Austin, he was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, as well as attempted first-degree murder in the attack of Jeff. Remember, Jeff was the neighbor who tried to intervene, but was stabbed when he had attempted to do so. So the trial would not take place for quite a while. 6 years would go by before Austin's non-jury trial would start. Yes, he had a non-jury trial. Austin's attorneys and medical experts argued in court that they were seeking an acquittal because of reason of insanity. They stated he was in the midst of, quote, an acute psychiatric episode, end quote, and that he believed he was, quote, half dog, half man, end quote, when he killed John and Michelle. They stated he suffered from, quote, severe mental disease, end quote, specifically bipolar disorder and acute manic episodes with psychotic features, as well as clinical, and I'm totally going to butcher this word, clinical lycanthropy delusions, also known as werewolf syndrome. I must say, I have not come across werewolf syndrome in a case, God, in years. I think I only ever came across it one other time, and it was brought up by defense and just quickly shot down. So I really didn't have to learn too much about it. So when this case came up, it's like, all right, what the heck is going on here? As you can tell, the defense here is really trying to see what they can do to get him again acquitted by reason of insanity, which in this type of case, you know, it's very different than some of the ones I typically cover where they try to, you know, a defense attorney is trying to argue reason of insanity and you're just not sure. You're reading the case and you're like, this has all the makings of somebody whose actions were not normal by any way, shape, or form. And Austin's actions prior to the case happening and prior to the murders, he was leading your average, normal kind of college frat boy life. So what happened? So before we get into what the results were of the non-jury trial, let's see where you guys are, because I know some of you guys guessed this pretty spot on. So, hey, Dancing Firefly, welcome. Good to see you. Fiddle was saying, I was thinking about acid trip. You're talking about 12. I've done a lot of mushrooms and never had cravings for cooking oil or murder. Well, Fiddle, the night is young. The night is young. Oh my God, Sam. You know, Sam, this has probably been one of my favorite comments that you've made in a long time. So thank you for that, hon. Let's see. I've only spoken one of peaceful, never violence. Okay. This has to be bath salts. That is the, seems to be the common thread you guys are thinking. Sam says, this reminds me of the Vietnamese guy who started eating a guy while traveling on a Greyhound bus. I'm like trying to think, do I know what you're talking about? I'm like, my brain is sparking right now. Like, do you know this case? Do you know this case? I don't know offhand. Hi, Trekker. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you. That means so much. Oh, thank you. Trekker, we go back a long time too. You knew me before I was even on the Manson Saga discussion panel, so we go way back. So thank you. It really means a lot. I hope you're doing well, hon. I'm taking birthday greetings. Please send me one. Is today your birthday, Trekker? didn't come up. I was gonna say it didn't come up on my Facebook, but Facebook was down for most of today, I believe. So I've heard, Facebook and Instagram. So, well, everybody, let's wish Trekker happy birthday. Let us know when your birthday is, and yeah, March 11th. Okay, so coming up, that's sometime next week. I'm just pulling up my calendar. That's next Monday. Well, happy early birthday. Happy early birthday, Trekker. I hope you have an awesome one and a fun weekend, living it up for it. Oh my God, and that statement just totally dated me. But that's all right. I'm uploading my friends' messages. Gotcha. I don't know, Kane, if you're responding to the case so far or to what's going on in the chat, because either way, that comment could hold true for either. Let's see. Werewolf syndrome, what? All right. Let's see. I've heard of people thinking they were vampires who killed people, but never werewolves. Yes. So you know what? We're going to do a slight detour right now. And I will read you guys according to what Google says, werewolf syndrome. But that's more... Yeah, the one that I briefly looked at for this was more of a physical condition of body hair, but not so much a mental. All right. So, okay, quick Google search for y'all, quick sidetrack. So it's pretty much basically, as I had it. I'm I knew I looked this up, but okay. So clinical lycanthropy is a psychiatric syndrome within which the patient has the delusional belief of turning into a wolf. Zoanthropy is a psychiatric syndrome within which the patient has the delusional belief of turning into an animal. Yeah, so that's pretty much exactly how I had it. Yeah. So based on you guys' questions about that, as you can see, this is not something that pops up in true crime cases a lot. So yeah, for people to have that question, wait a minute, what is that? What is the defense trying to put forward? That's good that we're questioning it, because that is not something that is being put forth often. Not something that we're familiar with, oh yeah, the defense is trying to use that. So, well, now that we have educated the old werewolf defense, right, Wolf? Oh, it's just another day, just another Tuesday with the werewolf defense. Let's see what Sam's saying. Someone probably slipped a Mickey while he was drinking a pina colada. Oh God. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that area of Florida, so I don't know. I know some areas are a bit more, just because I have some family in Florida. It, depending on where you go, it's the kind of age range population of that community, I'll put it that way, can be quite older or quite younger. I think we're kind of used to hearing, people just go to Florida and they retire. So you have that kind of quote unquote older community of people down there. But then also we know Florida, like FSU, big party colleges. So I feel like you get a mix of both. So I don't know specifically this area that Austin was in, kind of which population that was in, especially at this time. That is out of my expertise. James Watson, look at you here, and I'm just about to wrap up this case. So I usually use the Chewbacca defense, and for you, I've heard it worked time and time again, and that's how I get to see you every week in the chat, hon. Well, welcome, James. I hope you are doing well. People were concerned where you were. Honestly, if you go back through the chat, people were concerned where you were, and there was suggestions of doing a welfare check or a well-being check. So everybody rest assured, James has arrived, and he is here for the final part of the case that he has suggested for me to cover. All right. I just woke up. I fell asleep waiting for this to start. I appreciate that. Unlike Mr. Beckham, my co-host of Romance and Saga, who does my True Crime and Chills with me, who says he falls asleep while I'm doing the show. I'll take a quick nap before. I'm all for that. All right. So let's wrap this up. So we know what the defense was trying to portray for Austin. Again, throwing out all of these things and clearly trying to prove to the judge, because again, non-jury trial. That's important. Non-jury trial. Keep in mind that they're trying to put out their, acquittal by reason of insanity. So again, 6 years went by before the trial started. Well, in the meantime, what happened to the family and the friends of the victims? Or Jeff, the neighbor who was a victim but survived the attack. After 6 years of waiting because of the delays, Austin would go to his non-jury trial. And the families and the victims' families and friends were not aware. They were not told it was a non-jury trial. And ultimately, the case would be closed. Austin Harrouff was deemed not guilty by reason of insanity. He would be sent to a mental hospital rather than a jail cell. He could be released if he becomes deemed no longer a risk to society. I want to repeat that because it's so important in this. Again, he was deemed not guilty by reason of insanity. He's in a mental hospital, not a jail cell. If he is deemed not a danger to society, he could be released. And again, the family and friends of the victims did not know this was happening. Michelle Michonne's sister Cindy said, quote, "Here we are opening the prison doors for a double murderer. 4 words come to mind: white, rich boy, justice," end quote. Michelle's other sister Jody said, quote, "I didn't really know you could brutally murder 2 people, attempt to kill another, and not even have a trial. That was news to me," end quote. It came out that in the days before the crime, Austin wrote to a friend of his desire for fame. He said, quote, "Why the fuck just not do what you want? Just do the craziest shit you can. I just want to be great before I die," end quote. As of now, Austin still remains in a mental hospital. That is the case of Austin Harrouff. Thank you, you guys, for sticking around for this very different type of case over on Danny After Dark. And again, a huge thank you to James Watson for this case suggestion. All right, you guys, what are you thinking about this case? Do you agree with what the judge's verdict was? Do you agree that, he does belong in a mental hospital? Do you agree or disagree that if he's deemed no longer a danger, he could be released? What are you guys thinking? I'll just say for me, I don't know, and I couldn't find a lot of behind the scenes as to how it came about that there was a non-jury trial. That I couldn't quite find. So if, James, I know you're the one that suggested this case. If you know, a bit more of it as to why that was, by all means, please send me a message and let me know. Or if anybody else knows the case well and knows, by all means, please let me know. Because I really do think if he went to a traditional jury trial, that the verdict, I'd like to think it would have been different. I really, in my heart of hearts, think it would have had a different outcome. I know the justice system has its way of defining reason, or not guilty by reason of insanity, I should say. I understand him spending time in a mental hospital as opposed to a jail cell. It's just interesting that he could be released, because what's to say an incident like this couldn't occur again? We don't know. We just don't know. The thing that really struck me the most was the victim's family and friends not knowing that this was happening behind the scenes. So waiting 6 years for this trial, for them to not know it was a non-jury trial, and then that it was basically closed and he here's what's going on, and he could be released, and that's that. With no input from the victims and victims' family. That was shocking. So to hear the statements that the families made, especially Michelle's families made, her two sisters, they were spot on and very well said in the statements that they gave. And I honestly thought they were pretty well composed compared to, I can't even imagine the amount of outrage that they would have had at the outcome of this trial. Their loved one's dead, and here's the consequence, if you want to call it a consequence. So, yeah, I'm very, very curious what you guys have to say about this. Let's see. Kane says, can you imagine his brothers and sisters? Wasn't your brother the guy that? Yeah. Yep. Well said. Or not only that, but his parents, isn't that your son who did this? Or the community, anytime Greek, he belonged to a fraternity at FSU, I'm sure it's one of those, hey, isn't this the frat where so-and-so, was a brother at, or isn't this the college where such and such happened? It's, I can see that with a whole bunch of stuff, but yeah, the immediate family, I can see that happening all the time, brothers, sisters, especially the parents, I can see them getting that a lot. Danny After Dark, is he still a skinwalker? Oh God. Let's see. You should do a review of the case of Daniel Rakowitz, aka the Cannibal Chef. That sounds familiar. I wonder if that's already on the list. I'm not sure. He did a bit of time in a psychiatric hospital and they let him out. No way. I did not find that. Of course, I'm like, mid-episode, let's check that out. I didn't see that. But yeah, James, wild. Absolutely wild. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't see that he is released. Yeah, I don't see that he's released. So yeah, if you can post the article or what you're finding that he's released, by all means, let me know, because I'm not seeing that. So what to say, that's something I definitely researched before I do this episode. So if it just happened, I would have, there might have been overlap, but I didn't see that. Oh, geez, Sam. The cop in charge of the case killed himself. Oh, I can't even imagine. That's not shocking. The amount of things that I know when we talk about a lot of these cases, that not just that I cover in Danny After Dark, but just so many other YouTubers, podcasters, TV shows, all of that. We talk about this case from a certain perspective and we kind of are able to cover it in like maybe a half hour to an hour. The investigators and the detectives, the police, who are the ones that show up at these crime scenes, think of the trauma that they experience. This case is wild. All right, I left the door open, so we got Leia in here, and she's, yeah. And I'm gonna regret leaving the door open. Oh, we're seeing how this is going. That is Leia, for those of you who are wondering. That is Leia. So let's see. Little Milky says edgelords get the schizophrenia out of a jail-free card too often. Not surprising. I didn't think insanity was a good defense. Still seems like you should get 20 years. Minimum. But I agree. Was he a minor? Maybe that was part of it. No. He was 19 years old when the crime happened. He was a sophomore in college and was 19. So he was not a minor, because that I could understand. Not saying I would fully agree, but that I could understand. No, he was legally an adult. He was 19. What do you think of this particular case? I just answered that if you're asking me. I know I'm a little bit behind on the chat. If he starts, oh, Jesus. You missed my first comment. Probably. Okay. Well, I could not find info on who founded the psychiatric facility. I'm curious if it was run by nuns. Looks like he put weight on in jail. I did, yeah. One of the most recent pictures of him, he does look quite more filled out, I guess you could say, than when he was first brought in for the crimes. But that's not expected. I mean, sorry, that's not surprising. You know, we see that with, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, Jeffrey Dahmer gained quite a bit of weight in prison, at Kemper. I know there's more that but then again, there are some that go to jail and it's the complete opposite. You know, Ted Bundy lost weight. Granted, he did it to escape through a light fixture, but still. But yeah, I did. That was one of the things I noticed when I did look up his picture to see a recent one. And there was one, I believe, that was posted from 2023. It was pretty recent. And yeah, he does look a bit more filled out than he does in the photo that I used for this episode. Okay, James. Got it. Okay, because I was about to say, there's no way I missed that Austin is out. You got me paranoid for a second. I was like, oh no, I need to look this up and make sure I give accurate information. Okay, the hospital was investigated for allegations of mistreatment of patients. I mean, it's like a part of me wants to say that's not too surprising, but it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. Since he identifies as a canine, shouldn't he have been incarcerated at the local dog pound? That's what they would have done here in California. Yeah, California has its own set of rules, I've come to learn. 1876, Florida State Hospital for the Insane, the state's first mental institution founded. State cannot constitutionally confine a non-dangerous individual who's capable of surviving safely in freedom by themselves or with the help of willing and responsible family members or friends. Who is to define danger? Well said. Spot on. Well said. Thank you for that. Yeah, when you read that statement, you're like, okay, makes sense. But then when you break it down, it's like, wait a minute, hold up. All right, let's break this. Thank you for posting this. I would like to break this down. Follow me on this journey if you agree. So, okay, it cannot constitutionally confine a non-dangerous individual. Okay, again, as you pointed out very eloquently, how are we defining a non-dangerous individual? Think of what he's there for. All right. Someone tried to intervene. Look what happened. The cops tried to intervene. Think of all the force it took to get him off of the victim's body. So let's keep that in mind there when we're thinking about defining a non-dangerous individual. So it says, who is capable of surviving safely in freedom by themselves or with the help of willing and responsible family member or friends. We know he has family. We know he was connected in the community, active in high school, active in college, part of Greek life in college, but again, he has his parents. So is their family member, do we know, would his family be willing to take him in or take him on in regards to making sure that he is able to survive either on his own with their assistance or, coming back home with them? Not all family members will take back one of, if there's a family member that has committed a crime and is in jail. Some do, but some don't. Some want to distance themselves and understandably distance themselves. But yeah, it's who is defining non-dangerous individual. Is the state defining it? Is it the hospital? Is it the psychiatrist? Is it one person? There's no parole board per se, but ordinarily wouldn't, they be the ones to determine that, but that doesn't apply in this case. So who is the one defining it? Because that is a very broad thing to define. You could get 10 different people with 10 different answers. So who is defining it? And what is the definition of it? More simply, what is the definition of it? I don't mean to beat this, but it's just, yeah, it's scary. It is scary. Kane says, I'm sure this guy will never get out or be free. At least I hope so. They put litter boxes in some schools where kids identify as cancer, for Christ's sakes. What if I don't want friends? Am I confined to an asylum? No, if you don't want friends, then you belong on YouTube with the rest of us. It's the perfect place. You can choose when you want to be social and log on, and when you're done, you just log off and go about your day. It's perfect. Perfect. Silver, what Milky says, oh, silver bullet freaks me out so bad. I perform it. What if I want to survive on my own terms? Yeah, one could say he could want that. Let's see. Is the masses in a democratic society people define terms by number? Good question. Hello, PRJ Grudge. Bath salts is the cause here. Thank you for joining. Yes, I just finished reviewing the case, and yeah, that was one of the things that we discussed. So this has happened before several times. Not in any of the cases that I've covered here. Yes, you are correct that bath salts have been involved in other cases. I just haven't personally covered them here in other cases. So this was a bit new in regards to that. But welcome. Thank you for joining. Bath salt werewolf. Yeah. Again, bit different than what I've done. And again, this James Watson suggested this one. So this was one that was not fully on my radar. So that's why I like getting these suggestions from you guys, because I get to deep dive into cases that I ordinarily I wouldn't be on my radar necessarily. So they banned bath salts. That sucks. I used to use them. Yeah, there are so many things that when, like, even, oh God, what was the year, you guys, if you recall, when it was a type of, was it sanitizer or some type of was like foaming hand soap or something like that, that at least here in Massachusetts, it was being abused big time. So then that was a whole thing in regards to, think about it. You're going shopping and you just want to, get some hand soaps for your home and whatnot. And now, that is, under radar and under watch because people are abusing it. There's just thing after thing after thing. So it's just, it never ends, unfortunately. Was he normal up until this incident? According to the research that I did and according to other reports, yeah. I mean, I'm sure, again, since the case was a closed case, as you can see, I couldn't find a ton of research on the defense putting forward why the crime was committed. It really kind of led to he had a break, like a mental break in regards to his actions. There wasn't this, he was struggling, with some type of mental illness all his life and either was misdiagnosed or wasn't diagnosed properly, or maybe was diagnosed but wasn't being treated. None of that came up. So as far as we knew, again, active in high school, involved in several sports, active in college, involved in Greek life on campus, everything seemed to be okay until August 15th, 2016. when everything just turned upside down. They used to make it hard to use Lysol years ago because people were drinking it. Was that what it was? Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah, alcohol, hands, mouthwash. Oh my God, how could I forget that? Yeah. All right. If you hear a cat in the background, that's Leia. Yeah, I stopped her from batting at my pictures, so now she's like having a tantrum out there, but that's okay. Lysol is dandy. Pine Sol's. Oh man. So yeah, I'm just gonna go back to what you were saying reminded me of here. If you got, if you're not from Massachusetts, you might not know this hospital, but it's been long closed. But Danvers State Hospital was a really big, mental hospital back decades ago, and is since closed. The people were essentially just released to the streets. But there was a lot going on there. If that's kind of a little avenue you guys want to dive down, I really suggest researching Danvers State Hospital. Very interesting. And there was a movie based on that called, I believe it was Session 9, I want to say. So what you said just reminded me of that. Yeah. I'm actually surprised there isn't one over here, but yeah, I fed them right before I went on, so they're kind of tuckered out right now. But anyway, so do you guys have any last minute questions or comments on this case? Again, this is, a very different one. And if you hear that rummaging, that's, again, Leia's back, and she's, causing, going through stuff over there, making, I knew when I left that door open, I was like, I'm going to regret this. But that's all right. Yeah, while you guys type in any last minute things, just a reminder that I will be doing my weekly True Crime and Chill. I will be doing it back to this Friday night. I know the past several, probably, what was it, 6 weeks or so, 6 or 7 weeks. I've been doing some dance classes on Friday night, so I wasn't available for that. But that session is over, so I will be back to Friday night. So Mr. Beckham should be back to joining me. He was already messaging me today asking, did you miss me? Did everybody miss me? I'm like, oh my God, the world survived. We all moved on. You weren't here for a True Crime and Chill. It's all right. Also, I will have another special guest, one that you haven't seen on a True Crime and Chill, but she has been on my YouTube channel before. Who could it be? Joining on Friday as well to discuss a very local true crime case in those updates. So I'm very, very, very excited for that. So tune in for that on Friday. And in the meantime, again, if you are not subscribed to the Paulcast Manson Saga discussion panel, subscribe to that, because you'll catch me over there along with Mr. Beckham and Paulcast on Thursday nights. So, all right, that is enough plugging of what is coming up next. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode in this case. Again, thank you everybody for joining me tonight. And again, thank you, James Watson, for the case suggestion. So, oh my, I would quit. Or no. Let me revise my answer. I would do it. And then YouTube would ban me indefinitely. Because, question, why did he just explode? I don't have that exact answer, just what the defense was laying out, that he just kind of had a acute psychotic episode, basically. So that's that. That's as much as I got for you. So, oh God. The Milky, I was like, oh, nope, don't put that on screen. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me again. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you later in the week. And remember, until next time, we don't live in darkness. Darkness lives in us.